Andre, what the heck is GM up to? Because I was in the high country this weekend and I caught them testing a whole bunch of heavy duty trucks. And I'm talking diesels, I'm talking GMCs, I am talking Chevy Silverados. But what could this be?
This is super interesting because I believe, Roman, you caught the next generation turbo diesels in their heavy duty space for General Motors. And this is the first thing that an actual evidence of this.
Could this be the long rumored Megamax, Andre?
It might be. We need to explain what that means.
Yeah, what is the Megamax?
So about a year and a half ago, we received a report from an anonymous source with some credible information that General Motors is working on an 8.3-liter, so a really high displacement turbo diesel V8 engine. And, we reported on that, but we didn't have any super hard evidence. And this is a glimpse into what General Motors is testing.
So in this video, we're going to roll this video, the video that I shot. We got about 4 minutes of these trucks, and we're going to go through it, and we're going to go and see if this could be, we're guessing, an 8.3-liter diesel that produces 1,200 pounds of torque? Is that what we're guessing at?
And some people say about 600 horsepower, which is a pretty high, crazy number.
All right, let's roll that video. So I was up in the high country, and what I saw was a bunch of GM engineers, and you can tell it's General Motors because it says so on the side of the truck.
Well, there's LLC, US dot stickers.
As you can see, there's both GMC and Chevy trucks.
Yeah.
And it was very interesting because not only were they up there testing, but they're pulling trucks that are clad.
Exactly. So there's a little bit of camouflage, even though some of the trucks you see right here look pretty normal other than some stickers, right? So pretty standard to what 2025 models are currently looking like. You saw, actually, we saw crazy exhaust pipes, right?
Yeah, we'll show you those in a second when we get to that part. And I was lucky because when I was there, they were packing up and heading either out to go testing or out to go back to Michigan. And all these trucks, by the way, Andre, had Michigan plates, which is another dead giveaway that you're looking at prototypes.
Exactly. And I'm really curious, if you pause right there, Cole, right there we see a Chevrolet heavy-duty truck on a trailer. These are all gooseneck trailers, so they're very heavy trailers, and we'll talk about the trailer in a second. But I can see a little bit of camouflage, but it doesn't look that wildly different from what we know of today.
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't go and ask them to lift up the hood to show me what they were testing. I don't think that would have been something that they would have been too happy about.
If you did ask, they would probably say no.
They would probably say no in a very strong manner.
Yeah.
Let's keep rolling the video, and we'll actually get them driving by, and we can actually listen to what they sound like. But let's wait till they go by. So there's me kind of pointing out the fact that these trucks are about ready to head out.
Yes. So some other information that we received a year and a half ago, our source was telling us that potentially these engines will be in production in 2026. So we're still not in 2026, but we know a lot about the model years and how this is going to be laid out. So Roman, I'm predicting, based on what we're seeing here, these will be 2027 models available next year. That's my prediction.
Well, here's the thing. Cummins just came out with, of course, a new powertrain in the Ram. And we also have a Ford Power Stroke, which has not substantially more power, but certainly more power.
And more torque.
And more torque than the GM model. So it would make sense that GM would be using this moment to test, I'm hoping, a bigger Duramax.
Exactly. Well, maybe not bigger, but definitely more powerful, right?
So the current one is what,
6.6 liters.
And we're guessing that they're going to do an 8.3 liter. What's the advantage of having a bigger engine displacement?
Well, so I was talking to some engineers after our original story came out, and this is not an official statement by any company. I was not talking specifically to General Motors engineers, just generically speaking.
All right, let's pause this video in a second let's pause it and then you finish your thought.
Yes. So pause it here. We can start right there. And they were saying if you make the engine displacement larger, for example, currently it's 6.6 liters. If you make it larger, there's a Cummins rumored that about 7.2 or 7.3 liters. If you make it larger, it could be easier for emissions because you could kind of turn down the pressures a little bit and actually clean up the emissions and still make more power while doing it, which I think is still very important.
Now, what's interesting here is that not only do you have a 3-axle trailer, there's some important things. So let's start at the front and move back. So
Yes.
at the front, you'll notice that the truck does have some testing equipment hooked up to its exhaust pipe.
Exactly. So you can see a pipe draped over the bed, and there's another pipe down below. And it seems like, Cole, if you keep playing this a little bit more, there's some testing, like there's a blue box right there. You could see it behind the hitch of this truck. Right there. I'm guessing this is just sensors, maybe some lasers.
Opacity, maybe?
Opacity meters, right? So the way we test emissions here in Colorado for diesel engines is basically the government has testing equipment where they shine some lasers through the exhaust of a truck or a car, and that measures kind of how many particulates or how much smoke may be leaving the pipe. And the lower the number, the better it is.
Now, let's talk about the trailer. First of all, it's a 3-axle, which means it's pretty heavy duty.
Yes, so this could be over 30,000 pounds capacity. They have a wall that they built on the front of this Diamond C. And then, well, it's easy to look at the camouflage truck, but if you look below it, I can see some steel plates.
That could be a lot of weight.
So we have no idea how heavy those steel plates are, but we know the truck weighs about, 8,500 pounds maybe.
And the
Plus,
trailer's probably, 8,000, 9,000, 10,000
maybe
pounds?
9 to 10. Yeah, so if you add all that together, you could pretty easily get towards 25,000 or even 30,000 pounds for this particular test.
Now, here we have a camo truck that's being towed, which is also kind of weird. I've never seen that before, where they're using a test truck to potentially
As
tow.
ballast?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of strange.
Yeah.
But in terms of the headlights or the side, looks pretty much standard.
Yeah, it doesn't look like a big departure. And usually manufacturers, this is typical, right? Because to change a hood or a fender, that costs a lot of money because you're changing the stampings and the metal, and the factory has to, adjust to that. But if you're changing the engine, or maybe it's related to software on the engine, right? Those changes are usually a little bit easier to make for a big manufacturer like this.
Let's keep rolling, Cole, and we'll get deeper into some of the other things that we've noticed. So on this truck that's being towed, you can tell that exhaust pipe is not quite going out the side. It's kind of going out more.
It's a little bit tucked in and pointing backwards a little bit more.
So that could mean something or it could mean nothing. But you can tell, like they had on the back, you can tell they had those little those little clips for the chain. So they were towing with it at one point.
Yeah, and here's a single rear wheel truck, a Sierra heavy duty, just also labeled General Motors LLC.
With Michigan plates.
Also a diesel, you could see it by the exhaust pipe.
And there you could see the steel plates.
Yeah, the steel plates are really rusty and really could be very, very heavy. There's a truck with nothing. And here's another interesting truck that's pulling up.
Yeah, so it's interesting that these are all dualies, of course. So these are the big heavy duty. And I would think if you're going to put a bigger displacement Duramax, you would put it in a dually.
Exactly. And Roman,
or should I say Megamax?
I think we forgot to mention that this is the bottom of the eye gauntlet.
This is the bottom of
that you're videoing this at, which means, and we've known this for a long time, that manufacturers actually use the same highways that we use, I-70, eye gauntlet, for testing and verifying a lot of their vehicles.
Yeah, it's kind of fun watching this up close and being able to stop the video to show what actually we're looking at. I got a sense that these guys are like leaving. Maybe they're
all packed up.
Yeah. Maybe they're heading back to Michigan at this point. Maybe they got their testing done. The other thing I would say is we've been doing this now for 15 years, and whenever you see the vehicles testing, it usually means they're like 6 months away from being either unveiled or introduced officially. So this is something. Whatever they're doing, this is something that's going to be hopefully in the next 6 months, let loose on the public.
Yeah, and maybe they won't be for sale in the 6 months period. Maybe
but
it'll
unveiled.
but maybe, like you said, unveiled, talked about, actual specs should
Press
come
release,
out.
yeah.
Exactly. And dude, you mentioned Ford, right? So Ford has 500 horsepower and 1,200 pound-feet of torque. We can just play this video a little bit more. Yeah, I think GM needs to step up. I mean, their current trucks, we just did a drag race, right?
Yeah.
Their current trucks are quiet, powerful,
Could you pause it for a second?
and quiet, quick.
The truck on the left towing. Did you notice that there's cardboard on the back window?
Yeah, I was kind of breaking my mind over it, but I think there's a very simple answer.
What's that? They don't want to break a window?
Yeah, they don't want to break a window while towing it backwards. But also, why is it backwards, Roman? I mean, why would you?
Why is
because
one forward and one backward?
Yeah,
There's so many questions, no answers, Andre. Well, because like the one on the right has that little wall.
Well, by the way, the wall may not be just there to protect the vehicle and the trailer. The wall could be there on that trailer to actually create air resistance, right? Because you won't have predictable size for your trailer. Sometimes they build a higher wall to mimic like a fifth wheel or a camper. So I think that's very smart.
Cool. Let's go to the video, the little short video of the last truck leaving, because we got that as well. We rolled that at the beginning because I just stuck my microphone out and I got some audio. So just roll this because there's a little short bed.
Short cab.
Yeah, leaving with also an unusual exhaust pipe. I give him the thumbs up just so that he
There you go.
understood that
He's
I
leaving.
was a
And you can
friend.
see underneath the truck
Pause it,
a lot of different equipment. You see kind of little straps and
You can see the computer.
little computer hanging there. There's a radio on top. There's a computer inside, like you said. And look at that exhaust pipe. It's really humongous there.
Yeah, that looks like something you get out of the local Home Depot.
I think it's to attach more equipment to, probably.
Yeah. Oh, let's keep going. And we can stop when the other big truck rolls by. There it comes with the cardboard on the back of it.
This truck is squatting, Roman, so they're not light trailers.
Yeah. Oh, definitely diesels. And it's interesting that, like in this case, they have camouflaged the bumpers.
Yeah, but the bumpers don't look that dramatically changed, right?
Yeah.
So if you keep forwarding just a little bit there, you could see a better view of the front of this GMC dually. So the wheel size didn't change. The wheel design didn't seem to change. The mirrors are the same. There's some Duramax badging. So I think our Megamax name that we kind of affectionately called this rumor with,
So let's
could be just a rumor.
Let's recap the rumor. GM is building a bigger Duramax, going from 6.6 to potentially 8.3
liters.
liters of displacement. We're going from like 975 pound-foot of torque to potentially 1,200 pound-foot of torque. We're going from how much horsepower?
470 to about 600.
Yeah.
I don't know if they need to push it all the way to 600, but it would be darn cool if they did.
And we're, building something that's a little bit more competitive with the Power Stroke.
Yeah, and
Or
I think
actually beats the Power Stroke,
yeah, but here's the thing, Roman.
the Ford.
It's easy for us to get excited about big horsepower numbers, but I think more so is better efficiency. Because a big, powerful engine just can idle with the weight. It could be more efficient. It could be better on emissions. It could be just better for the business. So
I mean, we're getting to the point where everybody's going to need a CDL just to be able to tow.
well, dude, that's why I have a CDL.
I know,
Yeah.
I know, but it's getting crazy, Andre. 30,000 pounds, and I don't know how many of you guys,
Or maybe 40,000.
how many of you guys have actually towed that much with the pickup truck, but it's a lot of weight.
It'll push you around for sure.
Yeah, it'll push you around. Well, guys, let us know in the comments below if there's something that we missed that you maybe saw.
I'm sure we missed something.
I'm sure we missed something, and maybe if you're on the inside and you want to kind of
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
nudge, let us know what GM is up to. We would love to hear from you. And as always, if you want to go and look at more TFL videos, where would they go, Andre?
alltfl.com. All the latest automotive news in one place.
This is exciting, Andre. Maybe we've got some HD wars coming.
Still, again.
Ciao.